everybody, and welcome to our week number 3 Twitch live stream for my intro psych classes. I hope everyone is doing okay, staying warm. It was chilly this morning. Can you all hear and see me okay? Can someone let me know in the chat if everything's coming through clearly on your end? It all looks good on my end, but just to double check, a thumbs up or a yes would be amazing. Hopefully you can hear and see me just fine. I'll wait just a second for you to get caught up to me. Can everyone hear and see me all right? Just to double check, if someone could let me know in the chat, that'd be amazing. Otherwise, I'm gonna hope it's all okay, and I'll just keep going. But yes, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. So week number 3, we're flying through our class. It's hard to believe we're already almost to February. This has been a very long month, right? January feels like it's been going on forever. Like we're in the 75th day of January. It feels that way. So what I want to do today, I'm going to go over to Canvas and we'll look a little bit at some feedback from last week. And then, yes, I said, can you hear and see me okay? It sounds like somebody said loud and clear and yes, and then I got one no. If you ever have that problem where you can't hear or see me, sometimes exiting and coming back in will resolve it. But I want to give you a little bit of feedback from last week, and then we'll talk about what we have going on this week. Again, kind of short and sweet, should run us about maybe like 20 minutes or so. Also a great opportunity, if you do have any questions, you are more than welcome to ask at any point, and I will leave some time at the end for that as well. So if we go over to Canvas together, so weeks 1 and 2, done, right? We're done with 1/4 of the class. We are now in weeks 3 and 4. So notice that everything from weeks 3 and 4 will be due on Sunday, February 9th. So just like the last 2 weeks, it's all open now, and you have that flexibility if you would like to kind of work ahead this week or next week or wait till next week, whatever works best for you. So before I move forward, I just want to make sure that I give you a little bit of feedback about the previous 2 weeks now that they're done. And just like I did this time, what you can expect is typically I'll grade everything on Monday and then I'll send out an email with some kind of general feedback that I saw on Monday. And a few of you were a little worried that you didn't see your exam score. Remember that they don't come over automatically from the ebook site, which is too bad. It would be amazing if they did. But I will always be bringing those over on Mondays as well. So for week 1, you had 2 discussions, and then you had 2 discussions and an exam for week 2. So just a couple of like general pieces of feedback. Overall, a lot of you did very well on the discussions. I had a lot of like 13, 14, 15 points. The biggest reason that people lost points was not giving me enough detail, right? So that a lot of you got that piece of feedback. If I wanted a little bit more, make sure you elaborate. Some of you forgot to respond to a classmate. So with the first discussion, it was really this last bullet that a lot of people didn't quite give me enough on. If you didn't define nature or nurture, or you didn't really respond to the quote, you might have lost a point or two. That's the biggest thing that I saw on this one. So again, just make sure that you're always answering every question and really elaborating and showing off your knowledge. For discussion number 2, there were a ton of really interesting like research topics. A lot of you had some fun stuff. I loved it. Some related to psychology, some not. Biggest reason people lost points, again, just not really like elaborating. So some of you didn't really go into like how you would examine, what type of research you would use. So same piece of advice, just really kind of make sure that you're elaborating. For me, if you think about them as like mini papers, I think that helps a little bit. And if you found that you missed a point or two on each one of these, then just give me more in this next 2-week section so that doesn't happen to you again. Quite a few of you did the extra credit, which I think is fantastic. And remember that if you missed a few points on one of the discussions or the exam, that these extra credit opportunities will definitely help with that. And if you're joining me live, you can answer the question I'll give you in a bit here on Canvas. Or if you're watching this later as a recording, you can still get those points if you're subscribed. So on Twitch. So definitely some opportunities for that. Discussions 3 and 4. Discussion 3, we were looking at the 10% myth of the brain. And again, a lot of really like fantastic responses. The one that people really kind of lost some points on was number 2. And I gave you a little bit of a heads up about that. But, you know, if you didn't mention electrochemical communication, or if you didn't really walk me through how neurons communicate, you lost a couple of points. Most of you did a great job, really nice job with this discussion. But again, make sure that you really elaborate. I think it's fine if you give me too much, right? I'll never take off for too much, but you don't want to not go enough detail. And then for discussion 4, smell memories, I hope you enjoyed the opportunity to kind of smell some stuff and see if you had any associations. Really kind of a fun thing that our brain does. The biggest reason people lost points here was number 2. A lot of you said, like, well, smell memories occur due to conditioning, or they occur because things get linked in the brain. But I was looking for you to talk a little bit about the olfactory system and the amygdala and the limbic system, and you know, some of those things and how they interact with each other. You could have also talked about the role of conditioning. The other piece was this last one. Some of you just said, well, I can use this information to help me remember things. But I wanted a little bit more than that, right? Like, how could you link them together, right? And so maybe it was you burn like a specific candle at a specific holiday, and that helps, like, you know, bring those memories and make them more vivid. Or you study with a certain smell and then you take the exam using that same smell, right? So I was looking for a little bit more specific than maybe a few of you did. But overall, the vast majority of you, like I said, got like 13, 14, 15 points. So really nicely done. You do have 2 discussions again this week and then next week and so on. So if you did find that you missed points, again, you know, try and give me a little bit more, and hopefully that will get you there. As far as the exam goes, again, a lot of you did so well. It was really amazing to see. If every single one of you got an A, I would be so happy. So what I saw in the exam, the average amount of time people took to take the test was just shy of an hour. It was about 58, 59 minutes. So that tells me that most of you had plenty of time. Hopefully that means you were prepared and that you, you know, everything went smoothly for you. The average score was just shy of an A. It was like a high 80s. So again, a lot of you did really well. There were definitely some 100%, lots of A's, lots of B's. So if you didn't do as well as you would like on the exam or on any of the discussions, try to use the first 2 weeks as like a learning opportunity. What could you maybe do differently moving into these next 2? If you didn't do great on the exam, you know, did you do the study guide? Did you fill that out and write that? Did you study? Hopefully you kind of have a good idea of what you could do a little bit better. If not, there is a little like self-reflection or self-assessment this week to help you think about that a little bit more. And if you did great on all those things, then just keep doing the same thing. It clearly worked for you, and you can carry that over into this next 2-week section. So with that, what we'll do is we'll leave weeks 1 and 2 behind, unless are there any questions or comments, thoughts, anything about the first 2 weeks before we move on to week 3, which is where we are this week. I'll just give you a second to catch up if anyone has any questions about the last 2 weeks before we move forward. And if not, that's totally fine. Just want to make sure I leave room for it. Okay. And if you think of something later, feel free to pop it in the chat. That's totally fine. And I'll also leave some time at the very end as well. Otherwise, as I mentioned on Monday, we started weeks 3 and 4. So for week 3, we're looking at chapter 5 on consciousness and chapter 6 on learning. And then next week, you'll be looking at memory and cognition. So since we're in week 3, we will focus on this week. And then next week in our live stream, we'll focus on week 4, since we'll be in week 4. So for this week, for the readings and the chapters, you're going to always want to do those 3 things, right? 1, read the chapter in the ebook. 2, read through the lecture. Make sure that you click on any links that I give you. Explore the videos and watch the videos. Anything that I give you in there is meant to help. And then finally, 3, watch the lecture video. And that's me lecturing about the topic to some PowerPoint slides like I would in class. So make sure you're doing those 3 things for every chapter. Everything should kind of work together to help you with the materials. So be doing those things. You have 2 discussions this week and then a little self-assessment, which I'll talk about as well. So let's take a look at discussion 5. And as always, you'll see my instructions at the top, followed by my video. So I would definitely recommend watching the little video. They're short, but it gives you some more background and information. And this one will also give you some tips about remembering your dreams if you need help with that. Don't forget to be really detailed in your responses, show off your knowledge and understanding. Don't forget to think about them as like little mini papers, and that the discussion altogether is worth 15 points. right? 13 for your responses to my questions and 2 for your responses to a classmate. So watch my little video, and then once you've done your reading and you're ready, this one is all about dreams. So you're going to watch my little video for some tips on remembering dreams, especially if that's something you struggle with. And then you'll read this short little dream article right here. And what I want you to do after you've completed those two things is you're going to select a dream that you had recently and that you still remember with some degree of detail. Now, a couple of caveats. This should be something that you're willing to share. If it's like sensitive or embarrassing or you don't want people to know about it, wait for another one or pick another one. If it has anything to do with me, maybe wait for another one. So I once had somebody tell me about a dream where they murdered me, and then I couldn't look at them the same way after that. So if it's about me or if it's uncomfortable to share, wait for another one. If you really struggle with remembering your dreams, you could pick an old dream. You could pick a reoccurring dream. And if you literally can't think of one or remember one, you could always ask somebody else in your life to share one that they had. So those are some options if you're struggling. So you're going to briefly describe your dream, and then you're going to explain it from two of the theories that are talked about in this article and or the textbook. So in other words, what I want you to do is take your dream and describe the theories that you are picking. Make sure you describe them, show me that you understand them. And then I want you to explain your dream from each of those perspectives. So that's where the bulk of your points is coming in. I'm looking to see that you can take a theory like dreams are an extension of waking life. Explain to me what that means, and then connect it to your dream and explain your dream from that perspective. And then finally, why do you personally think that we dream? Like, do you have an opinion or thought as to what you think dreams mean? And dreams are so fascinating. They're so interesting. So I hope you enjoy the chance to kind of pick apart a dream that you've had from a couple of different perspectives. Don't forget to also reply to a classmate. So you'll reply to me and then read through some of your classmates and reply to one of them. Discussion number 6, if we go back here. Discussion number 6 is right here. And this one's about learning, which is the other chapter for this week. And again, you'll see my instructions and my video, so make sure you go through all of that like we just talked about. With this one, you're going to watch this short little clip from The Office, and it's got a great example of classical conditioning in it. So I want you to think about the content covered in the module, in the chapter, and explain the process of how Jim was able to condition Dwight. Be sure to reference all the appropriate terminology from the module. You're going to identify the US, UR, CS, and CR. What is the unconditioned stimulus, the unconditioned response, the conditioned stimulus, and the conditioned response? And then this last one, other than amusing pranks, because a lot of my examples I think are sort of on the prank end, what is one way that you could use classical conditioning either on yourself or someone else in your personal, academic, or social life? Be specific. And make sure that your example is classical conditioning. If you use the words reward or punish, it's probably operant conditioning. So just make sure that it's definitely within the realm of classical. And then don't forget to also reply to a classmate to get those 2 points. So those are the big things, like usual for this week. 2 chapters, 2 discussions. And then you'll notice there's a little self-assessment. And you're going to have one of these every couple of weeks. It's worth 5 points, but please be honest. I'm not looking for anything in particular. This is more for you as a chance to consider your grades, your progress, your approach to the class so far as we finished one unit. And I want you to think about, was there anything that you did well? Is there anything you want to improve on? How do you feel about your exam score? So please be honest. There's no time limit. You get 5 points for completing it, but it is an opportunity for you to kind of pause and see how you feel about what you've done so far. So those are the big things for this week. 2 discussions, a little self-assessment, and then the chapters like always. I do have some reminders, and then of course I'll give you that extra credit question. So I typed this one out already. Please take a moment right now, and in general, make sure that you're still subscribed. A lot of people didn't do this, and I can't make you do it, and that's totally fine. I know Twitch is a little complicated, but only like 23 out of like 150 students did it. So if you have a chance, it saves me so much time because I'm having to match up all of your names. And then remember that you can also get that extra credit if you have figured that out. So if you have a chance, please do. And if not, no worries. And then the next reminder, our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, February 5th at 11:45 a.m. Okay, so that will be next Wednesday, same time. We will have a quick live stream like we have done today. Again, about 20 minutes or so. And as always, they will be recorded. The last thing that I will give you, let me give you the extra credit question and show you where you can find the clip and how you can answer it. So this is the week number 3 Twitch extra credit question. And in order to answer it, I want you to watch a little clip called Attack of the Quack. And it's something hopefully you did watch anyway because it is in the lecture. And once you've finished watching it, you're going to identify the US, UR, CS, and CR. This will be great practice for the discussion, great practice for the exam. So let me show you where you can find the clip and where you'll answer it. So if you're on Canvas, this is in the Chapter 6 lecture on learning because it's part of the learning unit. So if you click on that, it's on the very last page, the page that says application. So hopefully you were watching this anyway because I gave it to you as an example. But here's this little clip, and it's a little image of a boy here brushing his teeth. It is a very kind of funny little prank related to classical conditioning. So you'll watch this, and then you will identify the US, UR, CS, and CR from the clip. And you can do that right here under modules. So let me go back to this week. So since we're in week 3, when you're ready, you'll click on optional Twitch extra credit number 3. And then up at the top, you'll click on start assignment. And that will bring up that little text box where you can type your response. And when you're done, you'll hit submit to see what you get. Confetti and little flames, little balls of fire. Why not? So again, remember, if you're doing each one of these, they're each worth 2 points. If you're joining me live, then you can go ahead and do this. And if you're watching this later, make sure you're subscribed so that you can get those points. But those are the big things for this week. Read those 2 chapters, do the 2 discussions. Don't forget about the little self-assessment. Please be honest. And then the extra credit is here, and the recording of this will be posted in a little bit once I have it uploaded and downloaded and all of that stuff. So kind of short and sweet. What I will do is I'll hang out for a few minutes if any of you do have any questions for me about anything from the last 2 weeks or this week or anything related to the class. Otherwise, I hope you're all staying safe and sound and warm. Take care of yourselves, and I hope I'll see you all again next Wednesday for our week number 4 live stream. Hard to believe that next week we're already like close to the halfway point. January has felt long, but the class feels like it's going very quickly. So anyway, I'll hang out for a few minutes. Thank you so much for all of you joining me live. Have a wonderful week, a wonderful day. I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out for a little bit if you do have any questions. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you too. And have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you. You as well. Thank you so much. And as I mentioned, I will hang out for a few minutes. If any of you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Thank you too. Thank you for being here with me. And I'll hang out for a few more minutes. It so far doesn't seem like anyone has any questions, but if you think of anything, I am here. All right, everyone. It looks like I'm the only one in here, so I'm going to go ahead and log off. But if you think of any questions, feel free to email me. Otherwise, have a great week, and I'll see you all next week.